Stupid Gang or Brilliant, were you watching this? I'm going to test audio to see if you can hear the other people in the house talking. But we're just going to do some shouting. I'm going to read out loud. I've been told I am very, I don't know. But first we're doing the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, then we will see where we go. Let me check. Check. Then we will see where we go. Let me check. Okay, everything is good. So let's start. This is the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge in 7 parts. There's something in Latin. Cecile Cliro Flores esse naturas invisibiles quam visibiles in rerum universitate. Sed horum omnium familiam quis nobis ignorabit et gradus et comunis et discrimina et singulorum munero quid angant quae loca habitant harum virum nociam seder ambivit ingenium humanium uncam et turgid vat intere non differito or. And that's the Latin bit. Thanks for listening. Argument. They're starting with an argument. The best way to start. How a ship having passed the line was driven by storm to the cold country towards the South Pole. Now from thence she made her course to the tropical latitude of the great Pacific Ocean, and of the strange things that befell, and in what manner the ancient marine came back to his own country. Part 1. An ancient mariner meeteth 3 gallants bidden to a wedding feast, and detaineth one. It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of 3. By long beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stoppest thou? The bridegroom's doors are wide open, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayst hear the merry din. He throws him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhair me. Oh, this is the pretty line. Hold off, unhand me, grey-bearded loon. Eftsoons spoons his hand and dropped he. I don't know where it starts. Okay, I think it goes back up here. The Latin part says, I can easily believe that there are more invisible than visible beings in the universe, but who shall describe for us their families, and their ranks and relationships and distinguishing features and functions, what they do, where they live? The human mind has always circled around a knowledge of these things, never attaining it. I do not doubt, however, that it is sometimes beneficial to contemplate in thought, as in a picture, the image of a greater and better world, lest the intelligence, habituated to the trivia of daily life, may contract itself too much and wholly sink into trifles. At the same time, we must be vigilant for truth and maintain proportion, that we may distinguish certain from uncertain, day from night. And there was ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhand me, grey-bearded loon. Eftsoons his hand dropped he. The wedding guest is spellbound by the eye of the old seafaring man, constrained to hear his tale. He holds him with his glittering eye. The wedding guest stood still, and listens like a 3 years child. The mariner hath his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. The ship was cheered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we drop, below the kirk, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The mariner tells how the ship sailed southward with a good wind and fair weather, till it reached the land. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he, and he shone bright and on the right went down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon, the wedding guest here beat his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The wedding guest heareth the bridal, but the mariner continued his tale. The bride hath all red as a rose is she, nodding their heads before she goes, the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest he beats his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. A ship driven by a storm toward the South Pole. Now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his overtaken wings, and chased us south along, with sloping mast and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, so treads the shadow of his foe, and heads towards and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, roared the blast, and southward aye we fled. Now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrously cold, and ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald. The land of ice, and a fearful sound where no living thing was seen, and through the drifts the snowy cliffs did send a dismal sheen. No shapes of men, no beasts we ken. The ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noses in a swound. Till a great seabird called the albatross came through the snug foe, and was received with great hospitality and with great joy and hospitality. At length it crossed an albatross, door of the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. It ate the food and never it ate, and round it flew, with the ice that split with thunder fit. The helmsman steered us through. And lo, the albatross proveth the bird of good omen, and followeth the ship as it returned northward through fog and floating ice. And a good south wind sprung up behind, the albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's holler. In mist or cloud, on mist or shroud, it pushed from vespers 9, while all the night through fog smoke white glimmered the white moon shine. The ancient mariner inhospitably killeth the pious bird of good omen. God save the ancient mariner from the fields that plague thee thus. Why look'st thou so? With my crossbow I shot the albatross. I'm not sure I read that right. Let me actually search up. What am I reading? Rime. It's the longest major poem by the English poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Come on. Okay, so I think I'm at pick 2. Oh yeah, this is right. No. I don't need to check. I don't make mistakes. And if I do make a mistake, If this is read wrong, I can just edit and stitch it the right way. Okay, a YouTube video. I don't have my lucky thing on. My lucky my headband. I guess I won't be gamer focused. Part 2. The sun now rose upon the right. Out of the sea came he, still hid in mist, and on the left went down into the sea. And the good south wind still blew behind, but no sweet bird did follow, nor any day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. His ship's cry out against the ancient mariner for killing the bird of good luck. And I had done an hellish thing, and it would work 'em woe. For all afraid I had killed the bird that made the breeze to blow. I'll wreck, said he, the bird to slay that made the breeze to blow. Did I blow? But when the fog cleared off, they justified the same, and thus make themselves accomplices in the crime. The dim red like God's own head, the glorious sun uprised, that olive bird I had killed the bird that brought the fog and mist. 'Twas right, said they, such birds to slay, that bring the fog and mist. The fair breeze continues, the ship enters the Pacific Ocean, sails northward, even till it reaches the line. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea. The ship hath suddenly becalmed. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down. 'Twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody moon at night, right up above the masted sand, no bigger than the moon. Day after day, we stuck no breath, no motion, as idled as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. And the albatross begins to be avenged. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, and nor any drop to drink. The very deep did rot. Oh Christ, that ever should this be? Ye slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. About, and reel and rout, the death fires dance at night. The water, like a witch's oil, burned green and blue and white. The spirit had followed them, one of the visible inhabitants of this planet, neither perturbed souls nor angels, concerning whom the learned Jew Jophias and the Platonic Constantinopolitan Michael Celis may be consulted. They are very numerous, and there is no climate or element without one or more. And some in dreams assured were of the speed that plagues us so, and fathom deep it followed us from the land of mist and snow. With every tongue throughout a drought was withered at the root. We could not speak no more if we had been choked with soot. The shipmates in their sore distress would fain throw the whole guilt on the ancient mariner, in sign whereof they hang the dead seabird round his neck. Ah, well a day, what evil looks had I from young and old, instead of the cross the albatross around my neck was hung. Part 3. I'm taking a sip at every part. Always drink water, kids. I make sure. There passed a weary time, each throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, how glazed each weary eye, when looking westward I beheld a something in the sky. The ancient mariner beholdeth the sign, the element afar off. At first it seemed a little speck, and then it seemed a mist, It moved and took at last a certain shape I wist. A speck, a mist, a shape I wist. And still it neared and neared, as if dodged a water sprite, it plunged and tackled and veered. As its nearer approach, it seemeth him to be a ship, and at a dear ransom he freeth his speech from the bonds of thirst. With throats unslacked, with black lips baked, we could no laugh nor wail. Through utter drought, all dumb we stood. I bit my arm, I sucked the blood, and cried, "A sail, a sail!" A flash of joy. With throats unslacked, with black lips baked, agape they heard me call. For mercy they for joy did grin, and all at once their breath drew in as they were drinking all. And horror follows, for how can it be a ship that comes onward without wind or tide? "See, see," I cried, "she tacks no more, hither to worker's wheel, without a breeze, without a tide, she steadies with upright keel." The western wave was all aflame, the day was well nigh done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun, when the stern shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun. It seemeth him but the skeleton of a ship. And straight the sun was flecked with bars. Heaven's mother, send us grace! As if through a dungeon gate he peered with broad and burning face, and its ribs were seen as bars on the face of the setting sun. Alas, thought I, and my heart beat loud, how fast she nears and nears, as those whose sails like glance in the sun, like restless gossameres. The spectre woman and her death mate, and no other on board the skeleton ship. And those her ribs through which the sun did clear as though a gate. And is that woman all her crew? Is that a death? And are there two? Is death that woman's mate? First version of the sun. This is the end of part 3. Nice. Like vessel, like crew. Her lips were red, her looks were free, her locks were yellow as gold. Her skin was as white as leprosy. The nightmare, life and death was she who fixed man's blood with cold. Death and life and death have dice for the ship's crew, and she, the latter, winneth the ancient mariner. The naked hull alongside came, and the twain were casting. The naked hulk alongside came, and the twain were casting dot. "The game is done! I've won!" quoted she, and whistled thrice. The twilight within the courts of the sun. The sun's rim dips, the stars rush out. At one strike comes the dead, with far heard whisper o'er the sea, off sharp the spectre bark, at the rising of the moon. We listened and sighed raised up, fear at my heart as at a cup. My lifeblood seemed to sip. The stars were dim and thick the night. The seaman's face by his lamp gleamed white. From the sails the dew did drip, till clomb above the eastern bay the horned moon with one bright star within the nether tip. One after one, by the star-darkened moon, too quick for groan or sigh, each turned his face with a ghastly pang and cursed me with his eye. The shipmates dropped down dead. 4 times 50 living men, and I heard not sigh or groan. With heavy thump of lifeless lump, they dropped down one by one. But life and death begin to work on the ancient mariner. The souls did from their bodies fly, they fled to bliss or woe, and every soul that passed me by with the whiz of my crossbow. Therefore, the wedding death feareth that a spirit is talking to him. I fear thee, ancient mariner, I fear thy skinny hand, and thou art long and lank and brown as in the ribsy sand. I fear thee and thy glittering eye, and thy skinny hand so brown. Fear not, be not thy wedding guest, his body drop not down. But the ancient mariner assureth him of his bodily life, and proceedeth to relate his horrible penance. Alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide, wide sea, I never sank to pity on my soul in agony. He despiseth the creatures of the calm. The many men so beautiful, and they all dead did lie, and 1,000,000 slimy things looked on, and so did I, and envious that they should live, and so many lie dead. I looked upon the rotting sea, and drew my eyes away. I looked upon the rotting deck, and there the dead man lay. I looked to the heaven and tried to pray, but wherever a prayer had gushed, a wicked whisper came and made my heart as dry as dust. I closed my lips close, and the balls like pulses beat. The sky and the sea, and the sea and the sky, lay like a load on my weary eye, and the dead were at my feet. But the curse liveth for him in the eye of the dead men. The cold sweat melted from their limbs, no rot nor reek did they. The look with which they looked on me had never passed away. An orphan's curse would drag to hell a spirit from on high. But oh, more horrible than that is the curse of a dead man's eye. 7 days, 7 nights, I saw that curse, and yet I could not die. In his loneliness and prisonness he yearneth towards the journeying moon, and the stars that still sojourn, yet still move onward. And everywhere the blue sky belongs to him, and is their appointed rest, in the native country and their natural homes, which they enter and announce as lords that are soon expected, and yet there is a silent joy at their arrival. The moving moon went up the sky, and nowhere did abide. Softly she was going up, and a star or two beside. The beams may mock the sultry main, like April hoarfrost spread, but where the ships whose shadow lay water burnt lay, are still and awful red. By the light of the moon he beholdeth God's creatures of the great calm. Beyond the shadow of the ship I watched the water snakes. They moved in tracks of shining white, and when they reared the elfish light fell in hoary flakes. Within the shadow of the ship I watched their rich attire, blue glossy green and velvet black. They coiled and swam, and every track was a flash of golden fire. Their beauty and their happiness he blesseth them in his heart. O happy living things, no tongue their beauty might declare. A spring of love gushed from my heart, and I blessed them unaware. Sure my kind saint took pity on me, and I blessed them unaware. The spell begins to break. The self-same moment I could pray, and from my nose so free, the albatross fell off and sank like lead into the sea. O sleep, it is a gentle thing, beloved from pole to pole, to Mary Queen the praise given. She sent the gentle sleep from heaven that slid into my soul. By grace of the Holy Mother, the ancient mariner is refreshed with rain. The silly buckets on the deck that had so long remained, I dreamt that they were filled with dew, and when I awoke it rained. My lips were wet, my throat garments all were dank. Sure I had drunken in my dreams, and still my body drank. I moved and could feel my limbs. I was so light, almost I thought that I had died in sleep and was blessed the ghost. He heard sounds and seeth strange sights, commotion from the sky and the element. And soon I heard a roaring wind. It did not come near, but with its sound it shook the sails that were so thin and sere. The upper air burst into life, and 100 fireflies sheen. To and fro they hurried about, to and fro, and in and out the wan stars between. And the coming wind did roar more loud, and the sails did sigh like sedge, and the rain poured down from one black cloud. The moon was at its edge. The thick black cloud was cleft, and still the moon was at its side. Like water shot from some high crag, the lightning fell with never a jag. A river steep and wide, the bodies of the ships are inspired. The bodies of the ship's crew are inspired, and the ship moves on. The loud wind never reached the ship, yet now the ship moved on. Beneath the lightning and the moon, the dead man gave a groan. They groaned, they stirred, they all uprose, nor spake nor moved their eyes. It had been strange, even a dream, to have seen those dead men rise. The helmsman steered, the ship moved on, yet never a breeze up blew. The mariners all gang work the ropes, where they were wont to do. They raised their limbs like lifeless tools. We were a ghastly crew. The body of my brother's son stood by me, knee to knee. The body and I pulled at one rope, but he said not to me. And not by the souls of the men, nor by demons of earth or middle air, but by a blessed troop of angelic spirits sent down by the invocation of the guardian saint. I fear the ancient mariner, be calm thou wedding guest. 'Twas not those souls that fled in pain which to their corpse came again, but a troop of spirits blest. For when it dawned they dropped their arms and clustered round the mast. Sweet sounds were slowly through their mouths and from their bodies passed. Around flew each sound, and then darted to the sun. Slowly the sounds came mixed now one by one. Sometimes a dropping from the sky I heard the skylark sing. Sometimes all little birds that how they seemed to fill the sea and air with their sweet jargoning. And now 'twas like all instruments, now like a lonely flute, and now it is an angel song that makes the heavens be mute. It ceaseth still, the sails made on, a pleasant noise till noon, a noise like of a hidden brook in the leafy month of June, that to the sleeping woods all night singeth a quiet tune. Oh, these are additional stanzas. I'm gonna read all of it. To the moon we quietly sailed on, yet never a breeze did breathe. Slowly and smoothly went the ship, moved onward from beneath. The lonesome spirit from the South Pole carries on the ship as far as the line in obedience to the angelic truth, but still requireth vengeance. Under the keel 9 fathom deep, from the land of mist and snow, the spirit split, and it was he that made the ship to go. The sails at noon left off the tune, and the ship stood still also. The sun, right up above the mast had fixed her to the ocean, but in a minute she gan stir with a short, uneasy motion. Backwards and forwards, half her length, with a short, uneasy motion. Then, like a pawing horse let go, she made a sudden bound. It flung the blood into my head, then I fell down in a swound. Polar spirits, fellow demons, the invisible inhabitants of the element, take part in his wrong, and 2 of them relate, one to the other, that penance long and heavy for the ancient mariner hath been accorded to the spirit who returneth southward. How long in that same fit I lay, I have not to declare, but ere my living life returned, I heard and in my soul discerned 2 voices in the air. Is it he, quoth one? Is this the man? By him who died on cross with his cruel bow he laid full low the harmless albatross, is by himself in the land of snow and mist. He loved that boy, he loved that bird, that loved the man who shot him with his bow. Yet there was a softer voice, as soft as honey dew, quoth he, the man hath penance done, and penance more will do. Did I do part 5? Yeah, that was part 5. $69. But tell me, speak again, thy soft response renewing. What makes that ship drive on so fast? What is the ocean doing? Still as a slave before his lord, the ocean hath no blast. His great bright eye most silently up to the moon is cast. If he may know which way to go, for she guides him smooth a grin. See, brother, see, how graciously she looketh down on him. The mariner hath been cast into a trance, for the angelic power causeth the vessel to drive northward faster than human life could endure. But why drives on that ship so fast, without a wave or wind? The air is cut away before, and closes from behind. Fly, brother, fly, more high, or we shall be belated. The slow and slow that ship will go, when the mariner's trace is abated. The supernatural motion is backward, the mariner wakens, and his penance begins anew. I woke and we was sailing on, as in a gentle weather. 'Twas night come night, the moon was high, the dead men stood there. All stood together on the deck, the charnel dungeon fetter, all fixed on me their stony eyes that in the moon did glitter. The pain and the curse with which they died had never passed away. I could not draw my eyes from theirs, nor turn them up to pray. the curse is finally expiated. And now the spell was snapped. Once more I viewed the ocean green, and looked far forth, yet little saw of what had else been seen. Like one that on a lonesome road doth walk in fear and dread, and having once turned round walks on, and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. But soon there breathed the wind on me, nor sound nor motion made. Its path was not upon the ocean, in ripple or in shade. I raised my hair, I fanned my cheek, like a meadow gale of spring, and mingled strangely with my fears, yet it felt like a welcome in. Swiftly, swiftly flew the ship, yet she sailed softly too. Sweetly, sweetly blew the breeze, on me alone it blew, and the ancient mariner beholdeth his native country. Oh, dream of joy! Is this indeed the lighthouse top I see? Is this the hill? Is this the cliff? Is this mine own country? We drifted over the harbor bay, and I with sobs did pray, oh, let me be awake, my God, or let me sleep away. The harbor bay was clear as glass, so smoothly it was sound, and on the bay the moonlight lay, and the shadow of the moon. The rock shone bright, the kirk no less, that stands above the rock. The moonlight sleeps in silentness, the still cock. The angelic spirits leave the dead bodies. And the bay was white with silent light, till rising from the same, that shadows were and chrismed colors came, and appeared in their own forms of light. A little distance from the prow those crimson shadows were. I turned my eyes upon the deck. Oh Christ, what saw I there? A corpse-like flat, lifeless and flat, and by the holy road, a man alight, a seraph man on every corpse there stood. The seraph band each waved his hand. Where is the heavenly sight? They stood as signals to the land, each one a lovely light. The seraph band each waved his hand. No voice did they impart, no voice, but oh, the silence sank like music on my heart. But soon I heard the dash of oars. I heard the pilot's cheer. My head was turned, faced away, and I saw a boat appear. The pilot and the pilot's boy, I heard them coming fast. Dear Lord in heaven, it was a joy the dead man could not blast. I saw a third, I heard his voice, it is the hermit good. He singeth loud his godly hymns that make him in the wood. Will tree of my soul, he'll wash away the albatross's blood. Part 7. The Hermit of the Wood. This hermit good lives in that wood which slopes down to the sea. How loudly his sweet voice he rears, he comes to talk with ne'er and ease, that come from a far country. He kneels at morn and noon and eve, he hath the cushion plump. It is the moss that wholly hides the rotten old oak stump. The skiff-board neared, I heard them talk. Why, this is strange, I trow. Why are those lights so many and fair? The signal made but now approaches the ship with wonder. Strange, by my faith, the hermit said, and they answered not our cheer. Planks look warp, and see those sails, how thin they are and sere. I never saw aught like to them, unless perchance it were bound skeletons of leaves that lag my forest brook along. When the ivy toad is heavy with snow, and the owlet whoops to the wolf below, that eats the she-wolf's young. Dear Lord, it hath a fiendish look, the pilot made reply. I am afeard, Pashon, Pashon, said the said the hermit cheerily. The boat came closer to the ship, but I nor spake nor stirred. And the boat came close beneath the ship, and straight a sound was heard. The ship suddenly sinketh. Under the water it rumbled on, so louder and more dread. It reached the ship, it split the bay. It reached the ship, it split the bay. The ship went down like lead. The ancient mariner is saved in the pilot's boat. Sung by the loud and dreadful sound which sky and ocean smote, like one that hath been 7 days drowned. Like one that hath been 7 days drowned, my body lay afloat. But swift as dreams myself I found within the pilot's boat. Upon the world where sank the ship, the bun's boat round and round, and all was still, save that hill was telling of this sound. I moved my mi- I moved my lips, the pilot shrieked and fell down in a fit. The holy hermit raised his eyes and prayed where he did sit. I took the oars, the pilot's boy, who now doth crazy go, laughed loud and long, and all the while his eyes went to and fro. Ha ha, quoth he, full plain I see the devil knows how to row. And now, all in one country, I stood on the firm land. The hermit stepped forth from the boat, and scarcely he could stand. The ancient mariner earnestly entreateth the hermit to shrieve him, and the penance of life falls on him. Oh, shrieve me, holy man, the hermit crossed his brow. Say quick, quoth he, I bid thee say, what manner of man art thou? Forthwith this frame of agony was rent with woeful agony, which forced me to begin my tale, and then it left me free. Never and anon through his future life an agony constraineth him to travel from land to land. Since then at an uncertain hour the agony returns, until my ghastly tale is told, his heart within me burns. I pass like night from land to land, I have strange power of speech. That moment that his face I see, I know the man that must hear me, to him my tale I teach. With loud uproar burst from that door, the wedding guests are there. But in that garden bower the bride and bridesmaids singing are, and hark the little vesper bell which biddeth me to prayer. O wedding guest, the soul hath been alone on a wide, wide sea, so lonely 'twas that God himself scarce seemed there to be. O sweeter than the marriage feast, 'tis sweeter far to me, to walk together to the kirk with a goodly company, to walk together to the kirk and all together pray, while each to his great Father bends, old men and babes and loving friends, and youths and maidens gay. They teach by his own example love and reverence to all things that God made and loveth. Farewell, for this I tell to thee, thou wedding guest. Prayeth well who loveth well both man and bird and beast. He prayeth best who loveth best all things both great and small. For the dear God who loveth us he made and loveth all. The mariner whose eye is bright, whose beard with age is hoar, is gone, and now the wedding guest turned from the bridegroom's door. He went like that hath been son, and is since born. A sadder and a wiser man, he rose the morrow morn. I did not realize this was so religious. That took nearly 40 minutes to read. And more like 30. Alright, basically, this dude, the ancient mariner, stops a wedding guest. And is like, hey, listen to me. You don't get a choice. And spellbounds him. Talks about how he went to ship, he shot this albatross off that had been below him and was God's creature or whatever. And there was no rain, so everybody died. Life and death were playing, and life only got him, the mariner. So he was the only one that lived, basically. I think that was a metaphor, or he was delusional. Then so he's like, oh, I lived. So rain came, he drank and drank. Some wind came, and the brothers of the albatross were like, what? Well, one brother was like, what the fuck? You killed my brother. How are you moving? And the other brother was like, calm, peaceful, serenity. Anyway. So he gets back to his home country. The ship sinks, and he's saved by the hermit and the boatsman and the boatsman boy. And he rows back because they're all shocked at the scene of like all the dead bodies and stuff, I'm assuming. And he begs could be relieved of his crime by the hermit. And then and this entire time the wedding guest is like, what the fuck? Oh, that's scary. And he's basically like, so he goes around the land and he has to tell people this story, and it supposedly makes people a wiser man. I wanted to rhyme that so badly, but he has to tell it, or else I don't think he has. It's either a curse that he has to, like an actual curse, or it's that he just has to tell him. He thinks he has to tell him, like a missionary. Yeah. This is basically conversion. He's like, I almost died, God saved me, hallelujah. God loves us all. We should all love God. I'm so glad I read that. It was actually pretty good, but still. Let's go to poetryfoundation.org. Fall poems. Actually, I'm gonna take a break to get water. I'm gonna drink water. Let me make sure there's nothing docs in here. And then we can read share screen, Chrome tab, The Chipmunk in My Yard by Robert Gibb. Alright, here we go. This is from the fall poem selection. I think he knows I'm alive, having come down the 3 steps of the back porch and given me a good once over all afternoon. He's been gathered back and forth, gathering old bits of walnut shells and twigs, while all about him the great fields tumble through the blades of the thresher. He's lucky to be where he is, wild with all that happens. He's lucky he's not one of the shadows living in the blonde heart of the wheat. This autumn, when trees bolt, dark with the fires of starlight, he'll curl among their roots, wanting nothing but the slow burn of matter, on which he fastens like a small brown flame. More about this poem. This is just. I think he knows I'm alive, having come down this. Oh, I think it's the chipmunk speaking. The 3 steps up the back porch and giving me a good once over. All afternoon he's been moving back and forth. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that means. What's the poem of the day? Phyllis Wheatley. Oh, but she's gorgeous though. Isn't she? Yeah, I think so. I head into the evening. Am I thinking of the right Phyllis Wheatley? Am I thinking of a different Phyllis? You know the person. Soon as the sun forsake the eastern main, the pealing thunder shook the heavenly plain. Majestic grandeur from the zephyr's wings exhales the incest of the blooming spring. Soft pearl the streams, the birds renew their notes, and through the air the mingled music floats. Through all the heavens where beauty's skies are spread, but the west glories in the deepest red. So may your breast with every virtue glow. The living temple of our God below, filled with the praise of him who gives the light and draws the sable curtains of the night, let placid slumbers soothe each weary mind. At morn to wake more heavenly, more refined, so shall the labors of the day begin, more pure, more guarded from the snares of sin. Night's leaden scepter seals my drowsy eyes, and cease my song till fair aurora rise. Is this actually showing? Good. Get it back now, y'all. I wanna... Ghost of a Trance. Oh, the poem of the day, yay! That was already an audio. Rule 61st Poem. Ghost of a Trance by Nathaniel Mackey. Gray morning, blue morning, a feather blown between, mashed earth and covenant gone up from nevermore naked, if ever to be naked, brink what it was to be on, where next we came to stick figure, people greeted us. Abstract was abstract, also something else, a line, shape, extension, each other than itself, of number we'd have said the same, aspect arrested us, riveted we stood, stick figure epiphany held us in our tracks, everyone's bones in full view, gray morning, blue morning, a not who string between, bad heads morning, reluctance, anyways, next day to pass, we would chill, shiver, and exergetic sweat, backed up and triggered as put upon by sloth, none of us could say what was what, pale admonishment poised upon lack. Like to unlike, pin recombined, nude and neotic straw, took leave long since taken, awoke to what would otherwise not have been. We contested birth, we wanted to be pre-and-dom-bolus. Dawn dead Gnostics. Again. Sound bubbled up, it kept bubbling, sonic residue, sonic remit, ethical sonnets, fraught sonnets, warning we knew nothing, sick figure entourage, otherwise issueless, beginning to be remiss it seemed, erstwhile ecstatics, lapse enchantment, trance gone none could say since when. Ghost what lifted us, erstwhile enchantment between, fell back, full out, extended, pilgrim someone called me. I said no, then I said yes, brax was on the box, was what it was. Tones uncertainty, stick finger counsel, all air, edge, angle down from where we'd been. And we were again where the alone lived, a beige. Had it not been so abstract, it might have been the long day of the Avalon shell sunset. Stood among redwoods, expecting the worst, what was of note, and what abjured nothing. What was all, none, one, all the same. What? Is this like continuous, or is it just a translation? I'll take a drink and then continue. It was a ghost of a chance. I was a guest of the chance. What went on, we blamed on the ghost. It was the ghost of a chance, each of us a guest of the chance. No two times were the same. When we hit a wrong note, we said nothing. When we hit the right note, we said, so what? Tell my horse we were told, Luxorious horse we were mounted by. What was done by the ghost gray. Morning, blue morning, eternity between. Told my horse we would gather at Nod House, drink down drinks at the no-host bar. It was in the drinks we drank, plain as sludge. Double take told its horse woe, told it on woe, back and forth and back without end. Talk spun our heads, told our horses right on. Unresolved which to insist on, stick with. Could it woe on woes ramble unresolved? Spinning heads made us feel we sat on swivel seats. Double take talked us in, took us in. Sat again at the same table, no two times the same. 'Twas Friendship long since gone. Leaned back, the back legs of our chairs broke, not house snubs, new address. A straining look made our faces look raw, made our skin flush. Dreamt each other's dreams, donned each other's costume, hosted one another, one stepped in as one stepped out. What does that mean? This is just an interview. Classic love. The world is about to end and my grandparents are in love by Kyra Jackson. Still living like they orbit one another, my grandfather the planet and grandma his moon assigned by some gravitational pull. They have loved long enough for a working man to retire. Grandma says she's not tired. She wears her husband like a coat that survives every season. Talks about him the way my parents talk about vinyl. The subject salvaged by the tent of their tongues. Grandma returns to a love like a hymn, mix it with the color. When the world ends, will it suck the earth of all its love? Will I go to do someone's hand? My skin becoming very digital age is taking away our witches, and I'm afraid the sun is my soulmate. The waits for a wet kiss. Carbon calls me pretty, and I think death is a good first date. I hope when the world ends, it leaves the beast. There's Grandpa and his gang. Grandma spinning corn into weight, the two of them reeling into Western theme songs. The TV louder than whatever's coming. In the Bone Cracking Cold by M. Bertley Siegel. Okay. In the Bone Cracking Cold by M. Bertley Siegel. On this cross-quartered day, quick to temper and cool, the long lashes startle me with the rime of four frosts. And I am snared like a rabbit pulled into your gravity by the run of our long love affair together. Seasons race past one following another, and the rising shaft is soon the halo that maples again. I will happily freeze in the bone-cracking cold, just to watch you walk slowly through the sugar burst rears the sun dog in comparison in the fog of slowly falling snow. Aww. That's actually really cute, because, like, they're outside, and they're like, I love you so much that I'll deal with the cold. Because you want to be out here. This is classic love. Oh, Pablo Neruda's. Oh, wait. Talking about classic love. Read a poem. What was it? Face to Face, I think? What is it? No, this is the next. I know this one. This is just like creepy mouse you have. Quiet? No, it's the Summit? No, this is no. Okay, this is the one I was talking about. I know there's one by Pablo Neruda. Actually, let me read this first. No. Yes. I'm gonna search it up. What was it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let me get a poem. It's like, face to, I think it's face to face. Where is it? A dog has died, hunger in the south, Lithuanian freedom. The dictator for now is a man, so to like humans in America. None of these are it. Some more. Old Ladies by the Sea, 100 Love Sonnets. It might be that one. The waters, the other men, soldiers sleep, sexual water, the poet, petty scientist, the more full of storm. White nose who looks for whiteness. White thighs who looks for whiteness. The rose neither. Yeah, this is it. 100 Love Sonnets. 17. Share screen. From tab. Share. And turn it on. That quick. 100 Love Sonnets. 17. By Pablo Neruda. Translated by Meg Einstein. I don't love you as if you were a rose of salt topaz or air of carnations that propagate fire. I love you as one of certain obscure things, secretly between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that doesn't bloom but carries the light of these flowers hidden within itself. Thanks to your love, the tight aroma that arose from the earth lives dimly in my body. I love you without knowing how or when or from where. I love you directly without problems or pride. I love you like this because I don't know any other way to love except in this form, which I am not, nor are you. So close that your hand upon my chest is mine, so close that your eyes close with my dreams. That isn't it. That's the one. Face to face. Andre Shadid. I don't think it was him. Man, this isn't it. Okay, stop sharing. This poem. This is one by Rabindranath Tagore. Face to face. No, not that one. Not that one. Let's see if this one. It's oh, that's long. That's not it. Oh god. I don't know. Yeah, this isn't any of them. Face to face, lips to lips? It's like, I don't know where you end and I begin, kind of thing. I'll just ask first. Anyway, what's a good poem? To Autumn by John Keats. Let me actually turn it on. I know. Nope, that's actually helpful to some people. To Autumn by John Keats. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, rose blossom friend of the maturing kind, conspiring with him had a load blessed with fruits divine around the thatch he's run. To bend with apples the moss cottage core, cottage. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that. To bend with trees the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with the sweet kernel, to set budding more, and still more, laid of flowers for the bees, until they think when days will never cease, for summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy cells. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks a bud may find thee sitting careless on a granary's floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. On a happy fair sound drowse with the fume of poppies, while thy hooks bears the next swath that mid, and all its fine flowers. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden hook across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look thou watchest the last oozings hours by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Aye, where are they? Think not of them. Thou hast thy music too. While bare clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn. Among the river's sallows burn aloft, for sinking as the light wind lives or dies, and full-fledged lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne. Hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft, and redbreast whistles from the garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. I want to get a poem I can sink my teeth into. One conflict. Unrequited love is good too. I may try that later. Where was I? Here. Undertaker by Patricia Smith with Floyd Williams. When a bullet enters the brain, the head explodes. I can think of no softer warning for the mothers who sit doubled before my desk, nodding their smooth brown hands and begging, fix my boy, fix my boy. Here his high school picture, and a smirking, mildly mustachioed player in the crinkled snapshot looks nothing like the plastic bag a boy stored and dated in the cold room downstairs. In the picture he is cocky and chiseled, clutching the world by the balls. I know the look. Now he's flaps of cheeks, slivers of jawbones, pride eye, assorted teeth, bloody tufts of napped hair, the building blocks of my business. So I swallow her, turn the photo face down and talk numbers instead. The high price of miracles startles the still young woman, but she is prepared. I know that she has sold everything she owns, that cousins and uncles have empty bank accounts, that she dreams of her baby in tuxedoed satin, flawless in an open casket. A cross through blood-red rose tacked to his finger, his halo set at a cocky angle. I write a figure on a piece of paper and push it across to her. Had to get more water. And where was I? I read a figure on a piece of paper and pushed it across to her while her chest heaved with hoping. She stares at the number, pulls in a slow, weepy breath. Jesus. But Jesus isn't on this payroll. I work alone till the dim insistence of morning, bent over my grisly puzzle pieces, gluing, stitching, creating a chin with a brushstroke. I plop glass eyes into rigid sockets, the curved eyelids from a forearm and inner thigh. I plump shattered skulls, then tape the skin to suggest warmth and impending breath. I reach into collapsed cavities to rescue a tongue and ear. Lips are never easy to recreate. And I try not to remember the stories, the tales the mothers must bring me to ease their own hurts. Oh, they cry. My Ronnie, my Willie, my Michael, my Chico. It was self-defense. He was on his way home. The car slowed down. They must have thought he was someone else. He stepped between two boring gang members at a party. Really, he was trying to get off the streets, trying to pull away from the crowd. He was just trying to help a friend. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Fix my boy. He was a good boy. Make him the way he was. But I have explored the jagged gaps in the boy's body, smoothed the angry edges of bullet holes. I have touched in places no mother knows, and I have birthed this new face. I know he believed himself invincible, but he most likely hissed "fuck you, man" right before the bullets lifted him off his feet. I try not to imagine his swagger, his lizard-lipped gaze, his young mother screaming into the phone. She says she will find the money, and I know this is the truth that fuels her, forces her to place one foot in front of the other. Suddenly I want to take her down to the chilly room, open the bag and shakes its table bounty onto the gleaming steel table. I wanted to see him, to touch him, to press her lips to the floppy cheek. The woman needs to wither, finally, and move on. We both jump as the phone rattles in its hook. I pray as my wife, a bill collector, a wrong number. The wide, questioning silence on the other end is too familiar. Another mother needing a miracle, another homeboy coming home. Buried. We do not dig graves or put caskets into graves any longer. The decision was made, and funeral homes were notified that families and funeral homes would have to supply grave-digging personnel. Ed Malzo, New Orleans City Real Estate Administrator and person in charge of the city's cemeteries. Buried by Patricia Smith. There's nothing but mud. The ground looks dry and firm, but underneath there's a stew of storm. Stout shovels, rusted, grow gummed and heavy with what I have to rearrange. Progress is slow. The sun so often sees me shut in. I have to stop to go. The sugar bites its teeth. Flick away sweat with my swollen fingers, swat hard, sluggish flies who hover like they know. When I start again, there's a rhythm to it. Some ticking jazz that gets my square hips involved. I craft a chant purely for downbeat. Push, plunge, push, lift, toss it, lunge, push. lift, toss it. My untried muscles blaze, joints click, pulse clutches my chest. Whole clocks later, I pause to relish the feat, to marvel at the way I've compromised the earth. How I've been that kind of god for a minute, but only time has moved, like trying to reach the next world with a spoon. My boy would have laughed. Daddy, you better sit down and watch some ball game. I would settle Sunday lazy and squirm balanced on my belly. He needed what I was and what I wasn't. Giggling in little language, he logged me the ball soft, walked slower when I was at his side, shared puffy white bread and purple jelly. He waited patiently for me after dark while I shuffled piles of books, looking for a bedtime drama, a spaceman or soldier, some crayon splash to wrap his day around. But every night when I opened the door to his room, all I saw was a quivering mountain of Snoopies, Blues, and Scoobies. Underneath them, his happy body could barely catch breath. Giggles unleashed his toes. My line then, "Where are you?" Plunge, push, lift it, toss. Plunge, push, lift, toss. With the dirt balanced high screwing my shoulder, I think hard on these nights of tussle and squeal. I want to feel his heat and twist in my arms again. I have to dig. So it's about him. Ooh. Poem song. Having to dig a grave for his son. Subject. Unrequited love. Let's try it. Bruises by Christopher Malik. Come on. Bruises by Christopher Malik. We met at Burger King, so I thought I could have us my way. If I had known you were going to drive through more than once, I would have made the first round a happy meal so that we broke each other's lust and fell in trust, rather than the other way around. Dessert should never come first because see, we missed some things or never let them out. Like how I never told you, I always hated needles, so much so that at the age of 26, every time a doctor is about to stick me with one, I still look away. Not so much out of fear as it is a disdain of being prodded by something sharper than a parent's approach or wit, and every single time they pulled the needle for some strange reason I return my glance to find myself slightly bruised, which confounds me, because it's not so hard to find these veins puffed like speed bumps at the slightest bit of pressure applied. Not so hard is the pressure applied by you every time you convinced I lied by the accusations of another. Yet you failed still to see the coagulation of sentiments eyes above the senses and form emotional reminiscences of the time you left. Are they the times I left? Because moving at discriminately criminal paces, seeking financial safety that stripped the proverbial go without collecting 2 billfolds twice. No, wait, 3 times in a row is ultimately a fault of my own, is it not? For that I was gifted a measure of your indifference inside a box you can't take out. As I sat, an envelope would fall through a flap with your name written on the back. Written whispers hinting at visits, more missives, and the chance of you taking me back. Every time I make it back, and but few times you appeared on the other side of the glass and left handprints behind. You kept melting my common sense and injecting me with hope. Hope? It's the lazy man's drug. And the guilty man's religion. I should have OD'd on the church steps. With every dose, the little traces of you were often caustic, passing through the vital moments, causing emotional cotton fever. Like the mother who left for 5 years and disappeared. Like the other exes who vacillate in and out of fear of holding on to a dead man. Like the homeboys who forget about me until someone asks how I am. Like the pray to God whose promises weren't kept, until it all flowed out in a crimson race through a broken hope, sharp scope. I left spots in my soul, obsidian tinted violet blues. I'm through with turning into liquid in your eyes and falling from the dirt cloud in the skies above you. I stopped waiting for your letters too. Instead, I call every denial from the court a love letter, and I know you'd ask why. I'd just say because Lady Justice never wants to let you go. She'd rather hold on to you until you grow old, till death do us part, as if that day in court marriage was pronounced. She's the one you plead and beg to pay alimony to take all you have. If only you could just leave and be free, but she keep you in recycling misery. Despite the infidelity, she has 2 million other justified suckers. Marriage is an institution after all, and leaves you with as much ambition as a dog without a tail in a circular room. And so still I sit, with a sentence longer than the sun is projected to exist. So long ago, on shooting stars, I ceased making a wish. I'm struggling to find space between the pure existence and cold, hard dying. For the lack of a better phrase, we left each other back there in that phase of youth where impulses ring truth more resonant and definite, and our thoughts banging against the silence as these cells presently do. In the same way, I haven't here, nor do I feel like we've escaped our love, but I'm tired of teetering on the seesaw between reminiscing and reality. I spent so much time trying to grow through this bid, but a tree planted indoors will eventually hit a ceiling. I realized it when somebody asked me what God was, and I said I wasn't dense enough to claim to know. But if one exists and created me, then there's gotta be some essence of it within myself. Wall by Moshe Kafe. Your head is a wall on which I knocked, looking for a door, a latch, a windowsill, a flower pot. Everything I brought to the wall dried up and blew away through lack of answer. Tulip bulbs, my words and youth and children. Sometimes I pounded it with my fist, smacked my forehead on it, blamed myself for not having the passcode, hated myself, hating myself, started over willed patience, got advice, cried in a heap against its earth without getting a spare so many night after nights. It's a wall, there's no way in. Now that I've made the choice to leave, your head suddenly has a gate. You fling it open for the first time, but I'm gone. Another one of the world's liars by Moshe Kafe. I am just another one of the world's liars, believe me. I have a few chimes, worn out peddlers' trinkets with grand names like beauty, friendship, truth, passion, and this one's a real item. Sometimes I even buy it myself. Love. Check my records. Odds are not in your favor that I won't sell out my goods, but by night deny you 3 times before the cock is crowned. Consider this a warning, never fall for my spiel. If you do and end up with a huge bill for damage done, never forgive me. Oh. Let's see. What is face to face? What am I thinking of? It's Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda. Neruda. All poems. Sonnet 66, William Shakespeare. Let's just read Pablo Neruda till we find it. Nope. Okay. I'm still at poetryfoundation.org. Oh, what is that one? Neruda face to face. I know this is like a real thing. The Lovers? Pablo Neruda Lovers. Oh, whoa. Oh, I read that one. I love you without knowing how or when or someone. These are quotes. I'm not good to say now, and I have quotes. I don't know. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. See, that sounds familiar. Tonight I can write. Alright, let me share the screen and see. Pablo, tonight I can write. And let me turn it on in the stream. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Write, for example, night is starry and the blue stars shiver in the distance. The night falls in the sky and sings. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. Nights like this when I held her in my arms, I kissed her again and again under the endless sky. She loved me sometimes and I loved her too. How could one not have loved her great lie? Tonight I can write the saddest lines to think that I didn't have her, to feel that I have lost her, to hear the immense night still more immense without her. The verse falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. What does it matter that my love could not keep her? The night is starry and she is not with me. This is all in the distance. Someone is singing in the distance. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. My sight tries to find her as though to bring her closer. My heart looks for her and she is not with me. The same night, widening the same trees, we of that time are no longer the same. I no longer love her, that's certain, but how I loved her. My voice tried to find the wind to touch her hearing. Another's, she will be another. As she was before my kisses, her voice, her bright body, her infinite eyes. I no longer love her, that's certain, but maybe I love her. Love is so short, forgetting is so long. 'Cause through nights like this when I hold her in my arms, my soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. And though this be the last pain that she makes me suffer, and these the last verses that I write for her. Translated by W.S. The original. Here is the worst Spanish you're going to hear, and actually not the worst Spanish in your life. That is hyper. Pero escriba los versos más tristes esta noche. Escriba por ejemplo, la noche está estrellada y taranta, azules los estrellas a lo lejos. El viento de la noche quiere en el cielo y canta. Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche. Yo la quise y a veces ella también me quiso. En las noches como esta la tuve entre mis brazos. A veces tantas veces bajo el cielo infinito. Ella me quiso A veces yo también la quería. ¿Cómo no haber amar a sus grandes ojos fijos? Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche, pensar que no la tengo, sentir que la he perdido, o la noche inmensa, más inmensa sin ella, y pienso que alma como al pasto el rocío. No importa que mi amor no pudiera curarla. La noche está estrellada y ella no está conmigo. She's not with me. Eso es todo. A lo lejos alguien canta, a lo lejos. Mi alma no se contenta con haberla perdido. Como para acercarla, mi mirada la busca. Mi corazón la busca y ella no está conmigo. La misma noche que hace blanquea los mismos albales, nosotros los de entonces ya no somos los mismos. Ya no la quiero, es cierto, pero cuanto la quise, mi voz buscaba el viento para tocar su hora. Okay, la misma noche que hace blanquear los mismos árboles, nosotros los de entonces ya no somos los mismos, que no la quiero, es cierto, pero cuánta la quise. I don't want her, that's certain, but I also want her. Mi voz buscaba el viento para tocar su oído, de otro, será de otro, como antes de mis besos, su voz, su cuerpo claro, sus ojos infinitos. Yo no quiero es cierto, pero tal vez la quiero. Es tan corto el amor y es tan largo y olvido. Porque en noches como esta la tuve entre mis brazos, mi alma no se contenta con haberla perdido. Aunque estase el último dolor que ella me causa, y estos son los últimos versos que yo le escribo. That is hard. I like reading in Spanish though. I can write the verses very sad this night. Write, for example, the night is something to do with stars. Day. Actually, no cheating. And citizen, blue, los astros, los lejos. Dentro de la noche, night, tierra, snow, sky, and sing. I thought this was 100, but I think it's sky. I can write the verses very sad this night. I want her, and sometimes she also wants me. This is the reflective verb. So it comes before. In the night where I have my heart, brazos is hard. Spanish. Oh, have entire my arms. The tantas point? That's not a point. This is bajo el sky, infinite sky. She wants me, and sometimes I also want her. Oh, let's switch from what it said in the other one. Oh, no speak love her large something eyes. I don't know what fijos means, but ojos means eyes. I can write the verses very sad this night. To think that I don't have her. To feel that, but I can't do it. I don't know. Okay, that's enough. It's been an hour 30. I don't think we need too much reading for. Okay, what's poem of the day? What is poem of the day? Linda Sue Park, Red Crowned Crane. Rare cranes have flourished in the world's unlikeliest sanctuary, the heavily mined demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. Ooh, this is a fun one. Curve and swoosh of wondrous white, brushstroke black and the throat and wings, modest cap of scarlet, stretching flap of regal span, deck romance on chopstick blades. Elegant and awkward nest and stock between the mice, screech and root past endless loops of shining razor wire. Okay. What's an advice? A goodbye poem. Oh, I might have to read 2 of these. Okay. Bitch by Carolyn Kieser. Kieser. Now, when he and I meet after all these years, I say to the bitch inside me, don't start growling. He isn't a trespasser. Oh, let me write it. Bitch by Carolyn Kieser. Now, when he and I meet after all these years, I say to the bitch inside me, don't start growling. He isn't a trespasser anymore, just an old acquaintance dipping his hat. My voice is nice to meet you, as the bitch starts to beg hysterically. He isn't an enemy now. Where are your manners? I say as I say. How are the children? They must be growing up. At a kind word from him, a look like the old days, the bitch changes her tone. She begins to whimper. She wants to snuggle up to him, to cringe. Down, Will. Keep your distance. I'll give you a taste of the choke chain. Fine, I'm just fine, I tell him. She slobbers and grovels. After all, I am her mistress. She is basically loyal. It's just that she remembers how she came running each evening when she heard his steps, how she lay at his feet and looked up adoringly, though he was absorbed in his paper. But bored with her devotion, ordered her to the kitchen until he was ready to play. The small, careless kindness, when he had a good day or a couple of drinks, comes back to her now seems more important than the casual cruelties, the ultimate dismissal. It's nice to know that you are doing so well, I say. He couldn't have taken you with him. You were too demonstrative, too clumsy, not like the well-groomed pet of his new friends. Give my regards to your wife, I say. You gag as I draw you off by the scruff, saying, goodbye, nice to have seen you again. And now, Petting song. No more music. This is the goodbye. If I had said music, I'd play it. Petting song by Jill Alexander Espam. First, it is one day without you, and soon her point mute, and her solution diluted, and her class action, if ever was, no longer suited. Wherewith I give to looting through the war chest of our past, like a wily Anne Bonny who snatches at plunder with grasp, but the wreck of that ransack that strongest our splintering call through the claptrap bastard of the best we had to offer, is sog-soaked and clammy, empty but for sand, like the knuckle-white cup of my urging hands, in which nothing but the ghost of love is held. Damn it to hell. Held. Damn it to hell. And that's the end. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Remember to